Hello everybody, this is Noel from the TARDIS Zone. Welcome again. Well, it seems there has been a development and quite a serious one. BBC America apparently had to remove the tweet. The tweet featured actually David Tennant dressed as John Smith. Remember, he used the chameleon art to basically become human, to get away from basically the family of blood. BBC America now has bowed to the pressure from these Jodie stands and taken down the tweet. So I found a tweet, but I'm just after realizing there I haven't censored the person's name. Oh, I have. Okay, because obviously they have seen all the flaw, and this is what they've said. Jesus, the BBC America hashtag Doctor Who account tweeted a picture of Tennant as John Smith in Human Nature, and had to delete it after a deluge of replies about how he was racist, fancied a racist, supported child beating, was a horrible character, etc. And he has a kind of a frowny or one of those looks as if to say, and that's my response. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. But again, BBC America now have bowed down to the pressure of these ridiculous fans to address the issues. As I said, back in those days, unfortunately, the reality for some, if you were a certain skin color, racism, and you were treated differently was a thing, unfortunately. As for the child beating, all I'll say is that the educational system in Britain and Ireland, for what I've been told from my parents, there was an element of that going on. It was that's the way they did things back then. Again, this is the way they did things back then, right? It doesn't reflect on what happens today. Right, they were things in their past that did happen. That sort of discipline did happen. You know, students did take other students away and unfortunately give them a good hiding. Back in those days, they believed that a good smacking would make a guy stronger. That was just the realities. It would toughen them up. That was the reality of the situation back in those days. As for his girlfriend being a racist, well, she was from that time period. So you've got to remember as well that for a lot of people, this was normal behavior. Again, I am not condoning that behavior. It was of its time. That behavior now is not condoned now. It's called out. As for John Smith, you say he was racist, but yeah, he's the one that took Martha in. He was the one that you know, looked after her. Okay, when things weren't looking great, he did turn his back on her. And let's be honest, he didn't. He treated her with a lot more respect than she would have got off other people. But again, racism and that level of racism was a thing back in those times, along with the school discipline back in those times. Even when I was in school, there was a form of discipline. And sometimes it involved a ruler. You know, they did things differently. Teachers don't do that now. If teacher did that now, sure, he or she would be prosecuted and sent down. You know, it was a different time back then. Many times the you people have to be told that. But BBC America bound down to this pressure. Again, as I said, with the Emily Cook situation, and don't get me wrong, as I said in the last video, I understand from her, from where she sits and her position, I understand why she decided to do what she did, but I do believe she should have held firm, because then I don't think this would be happening right now. If it did, it'd be slapped down. But these young kids, these Jodie stands, they complain about something. I mean, BBC America and, of course, the Doctor Who official Twitter account and the Facebook account, wherever they are else on social media, they will have to watch now what they post, because these kids are not going to be happy. And as I said, once you give in to them once, they're not going to be happy. They'll want more, and they know that they'll get more. Now BBC America has bowed to the pressure, and basically now these fans know that every time they complain, they go into a post and complain about something, that more than likely they will react and they'll take it down. It's absolutely disgraceful. It's absolutely disgraceful. I mean, these people, as I said in my last video, are supposed to be all for, you know, defending, I should say, these people are supposed to be on the side of, you know, kicking out racism. You know, they support Black Lives Matter, you know, and there they are going after an episode because it happens to highlight racism. It's like as if they want to sweep it under the carpet. I thought the whole point was to highlight it. As I said in my last video, TV shows and movies, even back in the day, have highlighted racism. There's a famous Sidney Poitier, I think his name is, movie, and he's a black detective in that movie, and someone got murdered, and he is investigating the case, and the town and people in the town, there are some obviously that you know, that grow to like him, but at first, like, they're hostile. There's people openly racist towards him. You know, that movie, you know, it highlighted, as I said, it was a great movie though, you know, great detective story, but within that, they highlighted the issue of racism, just like Doctor Who did with Human Nature, Family of Blood. I'm sorry if you don't, you know, the past is the past. You know, you can't punish people for the past. Everybody has moved on. We're trying to make society better. We've learned those lessons. Kids don't get beat up in schools anymore. And if it still does go on, those teachers should be locked up and the schools should be held responsible. But there are laws in place to protect children now. That kind of thing doesn't go on anymore. I'm not saying that bullying doesn't go on in schools, because I'd be naive to say that. It still does to this day, and I think that's one of the biggest issues facing schools. They need to, you know, sort out bullying, because it does have, trust me, it can have a huge impact on a young person, and it can impact them even in adult life. So, you know, as I said, we're not back in the 1900s. Kids are not being bet up. Now, as far as the racism, yes, as I said in the last video, there are still issues there. We've seen over the last couple of weeks and months, I'm a football fan, the number of cases of racism online when it's coming to fans going on to football or social media, that is on the rise, and that's disgusting, and it must be addressed. I think Twitter needs to do a lot more when it comes to racism and trolling and bullying and all of that other stuff. They really do. The social media companies now need to take responsibility. But as I said, the level of racism is not the same as it was back in the 1900s. As I said, I'm not dismissing that in certain parts of society and in certain parts of the world, racism is still not an issue. We all know that. We're not naive. We're not stupid. But what needs to happen is, as I said, dialogue. Everybody needs to sit down and talk. It's the only way. And then, you know, as I said, education is very important. And also, you know, pop culture in the past has played a part. You know, pop culture has led the way in certain trends for the positive and the negative. And, you know, they've always highlighted different topics, different issues of the time in movies, and they've always done it respectfully. I mean, you can't keep calling these things out because I don't know. See, again, in the last video, I said this is mind-boggling. The people that are attacking this post on Doctor Who, BBC America, are supposed to be, as I said, supporters of ending racism. But yeah, they're going after something that highlighted that very same issue while highlighting other issues also. But I think BBC America, you know, we're going into very dangerous territory, as I said. The BBC America shouldn't have pulled the post. You know, I mean, what, you're going to let a couple of fans, I don't know how many of them there is, right? But you're going to let a couple of hundred fans or whatever it is, let's just say, right, be generous. You're going to let them control everything that you throw up on social media now because you'd be scared that there'll be a backlash. See, this is the precedent that was set. And unfortunately, it's going to continue. It's going to be a trend, as I said. And as I said in the last video, the list of New Who, as I said, will grow bigger. We've already got Unicorn and Wasp. We've got Human Nature, Family of Blood. As I said, I'm not aware right now at the moment if there are other episodes that these Muppets have a problem with. There probably is some other New Who stories. We certainly know they've had problems with Classic Who. But as I said, their goal is to dismantle everything that we love. For the simple fact of the matter is that they know deep down that the current era of Doctor Who has failed. They know deep down that nobody likes it. And I'm being quite honest with you. I think all of this that they're doing is basically, it's their way of getting back at fans that they believe are racists, white supremacists, whatever the names that they've thrown out there. And they will punish, and they'll continue to do what they do, as I said. And that list will grow even bigger. But BBC America's Twitter, Doctor Who Twitter account now has really set the bar now. While Emily Cook, I think, is the editor or one of the contributors to Doctor Who magazine, an actual social media, official social media account of Doctor Who. Okay, the American branch, but still a highly influential page. You know, people be looking at that. You know, there's a lot of people that you know, would be on the side of these people that are outraged, high profile people, and this will be noticed. This will be noticed. You know, it's absolutely disgraceful. As I said, they'll continue to go after other stuff. These social media accounts now will have to watch everything that they post up now, because these fans, you see, the sooner the Chris Chibnall era ends, the better. The sooner BBC stops listening to these fans, the better. BBC need to get back to doing what they used to do best, which is give us high quality entertainment across the board. When it came to comedy, when it came to family entertainment, when it came to TV quiz shows, you know, you had things like Noel's House Party, The Generation Game. You know, you had obviously you had other shows at the time. BBC used to make great TV, right? And they need to go back and doing that. Listen, we all know BBC made mistakes in the past, right? We all know that there was certain people within that organization that worked for that organization, did horrible things. Jimmy Savile, to name one, but there are many. Okay, we know this is BBC's way of trying to apologize and appease an audience because they're scared now because of past mistakes. But again, like I say about Doctor Who episodes that highlight sensitive issues, that was in our past. You need to learn from your past, and you need to be able to move on from your past. BBC need to move on from their past, and they need to stop listening to clowns like these people, right? And there's a lot more out there that give BBC a hard time, but they need to stop. BBC need to go back to doing what they did best, which is give us high quality entertainment across the board. As soon as they do that, and listen, there are still some shows out there that they're producing that are high quality. That's what annoys a lot of people. They know that they can do it if the will is really there. They need to start doing that with Doctor Who and other shows that are perceived to be failing under this organization. And BBC Doctor Who America's Twitter account has just changed the game completely now. These kids now know that if they complain hard and long enough, that account will bow down. It remains to be seen if the official UK one on Twitter and on Facebook does the same. I'll be to be honest with you, I'll be looking out for their post now to see if they post that and to see if anybody's offended by that. But as I said earlier in the last video, it has really set a dangerous precedent, and it's not going to stop. I don't know what you guys think, but again, as I said, back in those days, a lot of things did happen. I mean, you go back even further again, you know, history is plagued with a lot of things that, a lot of things and a lot of mistakes were made back then. It's the reality of the situation. But I think each generation, I think each generation has learned from the last generation, and I believe that that will continue throughout as long as human beings are still living on this planet. I do believe that that will be the case. We will get to a part, and we will get to a place in society where everybody is happy. I do believe that. I would love to see it, but it's always going to go at the pace that society allows, not how a few people at the pace they want it. And this is the problem. This is the problem. And again, as I said, if you're going back to the past to try and cancel someone or cancel people or make people take down posts because you're offended somehow, you really need to, do you know what? Again, I bet you most of you don't know user history. You know, why not go back and read user history books? And then while you are reading user history books, you can be as offended as you want. But then you will come back and look at Doctor Who and those episodes in particular and say, yeah, did a good job at portraying what it was like back in those days. And they should be commended. This is what baffles me, though, is the people that have gone after this episode, gone after that post, are supposed to be fighters for, as I said, Black Lives Matter, and are on the side of stamping out racism, but yet are going after this. And BBC America has responded in kind, the Doctor Who account on Twitter, by taking down, deleting the post. And as I said, it's followed by high-profile people. That would have been noticed. Some that are in the media would have been noticed. And it has really set the precedent in the Doctor Who community now. As I said, these kids now know that every time that they speak up, they'll be listened to. And that's, you know, that's not the way it should be. Jesus, I just can't get my head around it. I really can't. But listen, let me know what you think anyway. It's this whole situation is interesting because, you know, when we thought that these guys were running out of steam, it looks like now that there seems to be more than ever that these social media accounts are going to listen to them. You know, I wouldn't be surprised, trust me, if they start going after clips on their Doctor Who official YouTube channel and forcing BBC to take down some clips, because, you know, that's the way it's going now. As I said, they'll go after everything. They won't stop. They'll never be satisfied. So again, folks, let us know what you think in the comments. As I said, interesting one. I have to say, I don't like it at all. But it is what it is. And plenty to discuss on Friday. So we've got all the rumours we'll be discussing. We'll have Marty on first. Then what we'll do is when Marty leaves, then we'll bring everybody on for the TARDIS Zone talks. I know there's a lot of people that wants to come on. And also we will be discussing this issue as well. And I'd like to get your opinions and your thoughts on this latest fiasco, because it is a fiasco. As I said, you know, you give in to them once, you set a dangerous precedent, right? You give in to them again. It's just, I'm just dumbfounded by it all. It's a bloody, it was a picture David Tennant as John Smith, and they come out with this racist crap, right? When a story was highlighting what it was like back then and other issues as well. Unbelievable, seriously. Right, I have to go because what's happened is that Cheryl's is in the bedroom, and she's after coming out to go to the bathroom, and Ted's at the hearing her, so he's crying in the background. So I'm gonna have to give him a hug. But listen, thanks for joining us. Look after yourselves. Thanks to all the mods. Thanks to everybody in the chat that took part as well. And good night to you all. Good night, folks.